What's going on, you guys? This is New York Adventurer 1994 here, and today is Friday, December 8th, 2023, and I am officially going to Washington, D.C. tomorrow. Washington, District of Columbia. Now, this is a trip we've been talking about for some time now, for like the last 10 years, I believe. Like, ever since we were driving to Disney in March of 2013. We like happened to pass by Washington while we were driving to Disney back in March of 2013, and we started talking about like we have to go here. And I remember passing by the White House and all that stuff while we were driving to DC, while we were on I-95. And when we drove past Washington, D.C., we started talking about that we had to come here. And now that's become a reality finally, after like 10 years of talking about it. I am going because the Rangers are playing against the Washington Capitals over there, and I got tickets for it as a Christmas present. And I'm only staying in Washington for like 24 hours, just like what I did in Raleigh with the Rangers and Hurricanes back in February. And you guys all remember that game, do you? Yeah, it should ring a bell. And I am flying JetBlue tomorrow at JFK Airport, and my flight's at like 7 in the morning, and I have to leave my house at like 4 in the morning to get to JFK. And yeah, the plane is supposed to leave Kennedy at like the crack of dawn, since the sunrise is much later since winter's coming. Yeah, so this is an early flight, and we chose the early flight because we want to walk around monuments and all that stuff. Like, we want to see the White House. We're going to see the Lincoln Memorial. We're going to go to some of the museums. We want to see the National Mall. Possibly the Pentagon. We want to see all that stuff. Like, during the daytime, like, hours before the game starts. We want to get through all that. And I don't know if we'll go to the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum, but we should see what we have time for. Like, maybe next time, who knows? We'll see what we have time for. We want to walk around the main monuments, like the White House and all that stuff, while we're waiting for the game. And our arrival airport is going to be Ronald Reagan National Airport, and it's not too far from all the stuff you see in DC. And believe it or not, my hotel room is like not too far from the arena, so it's a short walk to like almost everything over there. Like the National Mall is like almost all here, like right in front of me. So I think I'm gonna have enough time to see many stuff, to see a lot of stuff there. So I think I should be good. Because I want to see the White House and all that stuff while I'm there. I am not going to blow an opportunity like that. Like, when I'm in DC, I should want to see all this stuff, like the White House and all that stuff. Even if I'm mainly going there for a game, I should still want to see that stuff, like, beforehand. I mean, this is the whole point why we chose that early flight out of Kennedy with JetBlue. And I believe for a fact that the JetBlue Terminal 5 at JFK is pretty much decorated for Christmas by now. Like, I think we're going to see the Christmas tree tomorrow at Terminal 5. Before we head over to Ronald Reagan. And I think we might walk around Ronald Reagan too. But I'm just hoping we can see the White House, the Lincoln Memorial, and all that stuff before the game starts. Like, hopefully get to see as much monuments as possible. Yeah, I can't wait for this trip. I had this trip booked since July, believe it or not. I actually booked it on July 25th, and that's like Christmas in July. That makes a lot of sense there because Christmas is December 25th, and this was July 25th, and many people like to celebrate Christmas in July, so July 25th is like suits it pretty well. And my flight heading back to New York is at like 1:30 in the afternoon. I think we're gonna check out early and go to the airport early so we can look around the airport and see what's there. Hopefully they'll have good Christmas decorations since it's December. And there's one thing I need to mention to you guys. This is a little warning. We might experience some delays or cancellations, and it has to do with the fact that the Northeast and like the entire East Coast is supposed to put up with a storm this weekend, like Sunday night into Monday morning. We're expected to have a huge low-level jet that's gonna like cross right over us. And we're expecting like heavy rain and wind gusts of 60 miles an hour. We have a high wind watch for Long Island right now. I am under a high wind watch right now with wind gusts of 60 miles an hour. And 60 miles an hour, that's pretty strong. And that's really capable of bringing down trees and power lines. So if I lose power, at least I'm prepared. But I'm just saying, we could see some trouble while I'm trying to head back to New York. We could experience some bumps while up in the air, and we could see some delays or cancellations. If my flight gets canceled, we're renting a car and driving back to New York ourselves. Because we're not going to spend another day in DC. I have to go back to work on Monday. So if my flight gets canceled, we're not spending another day in DC. We're just going to drive back home ourselves. We're renting and driving back ourselves. And we'll drop the car off at JFK Airport and get our car back. Because there's no way I'm spending another night in DC. If I have to rent a car and drop it off at JFK to get our car back, then so be it. We want to come home Sunday, period. No matter what's going on. Even if we have 60 mile an hour winds coming our way. No matter how serious the storm is, we're going to try to get home as quickly as possible. And we could see some delays, and while the plane's up in the air, there's going to be some bumps, possibly because of the wind and all that stuff, and the struggle. But thank goodness it's only a 30-minute flight from JFK to DC. It's not all that terrible. It's just a short flight. It's like we were not even on the plane to begin with. Yeah, it's not really much of a long flight. I think the boarding process might be a little longer, if anything. And the taxiing, probably, but who knows. Hopefully we don't get into too much trouble with the delays, because I want to get home as quickly as possible before this storm gets really bad. Yeah, we're talking 60 mile an hour wind gusts and heavy rain. Like flooding rain. I expect some flooding in this area. I think our main threat is the wind, which is why we're under a high wind watch right now. And I really think it's going to be a high wind warning. If it's not 60 miles an hour, I expect it to be higher than that. Maybe even 70. Who knows? If you guys live in the Northeast, you need to be on high alert. And be prepared for a possible power outage that night. Because things are going to get hairy before we get back to Long Island. I mean, after we get back to Long Island. And believe it or not, we're actually coming home on the 6th anniversary of Angry Grandpa's passing. So, it might be a hard day for me, but it'll definitely be a hard day for the Greens. It'll definitely be a hard day for the Greens, but it might be hard on me because of the storm, which could bring delays or cancellations. But other than that, I am looking forward to going to DC, like I did the last 10 years now. I can't wait to see the White House. I can't wait to see the Lincoln Memorial. I can't wait to see the Rangers game. I can't even wait to see what the airport in Ronald Reagan looks like. Yeah, Ronald Reagan's not that far from the monuments, like the main city area. So yeah, I have to get up at like 3 in the morning and leave at 4 a.m. for Kennedy Airport. My flight leaves at 7 in the morning on JetBlue. And what stinks is that they're ending that route between JFK to DC with JetBlue. And I can't afford Delta and American. So I kind of lucked out that I chose in December before the JetBlue route comes off with JFK to DC. Because they're taking that route down in like January. It was like a limited time service from JFK to DC with JetBlue. And we only have American and Delta that will take us to DC out of JFK after that. Which is pretty expensive, which is how I lucked out booking with JetBlue early enough, like in December. I know there's another game in DC with the Rangers in January, but it might be like too dangerous with the weather by then. Like, we might get worse weather by then. And the route's not even going to be on there anymore with JetBlue at JFK. So once again, I gotta get to JFK at like 4 o'clock. My flight's at 7. I'm gonna see some monument in DC, go to a Rangers game, and then come home. It'll be a 24-hour trip again, just like in February. So I guess that's it. Bye.